It's an instant trade. Trades himself out, actually. And Egypt is happy that they got away with 3 frags here. After losing the first member in that fight, they bring it back a little bit. They've got themselves cars now. But I wouldn't even be that surprised to see them swimming back here, Felix.
Yeah.
It's a reasonable play. And once again, they're giving up control again to swim over, and they will have to hope that it works out, because you really are just laying your faith in the hands of the PUBG gods.
I could understand it both ways. But I'd swim over as well, to be honest. Then again, if I see that rotation, I might think twice about it. Miramar is trying to take things on the other side of the river. And so is Chile. They've already done so, to be fair. They found themselves up at the lighthouse. Glass house on the other side is taken as well. So Chile is all around that northern side of the West End Bridge. And they've got a pretty big split going on right now. Saudi Arabia is the only one that really tries to contest them, but Easy hasn't really found an opening.
And that knock, actually, and that flush on the bridge is big for Brazil as well. Jordan's the team on the bridge. They were 4-man strong. Now they're 3, and now Brazil is pinching from the backlines. If they find an opening, suddenly they're in a very advantageous fight. So them hearing that knock, seeing that flush come on through is big news for them, because they know they will have to cross that bridge, and they're happy to fight their way through here. They're happy to try and scrap their way across. Instead of going for a desperate send, so Chile helping them out here by holding their side down.
There's still taking things slow as they have been for the last couple of rounds. They don't want to.
There's that opening.
Make any decision that might cost them, and yeah, you've said it yourself. That is the opening. That's what they wanted. The Jordan player down. They tried to go south. They tried over. Do you think this goes south?
Nah.
Yeah, I was about to say that would have been crazy, but still possible. To be fair, still very much possible. No, it goes towards the west, and that means Saudi Arabia is in a really good spot. So is Kyrgyzstan, and so is Chile, who will have, I think, to give up a couple of positions there. I think it's too big of a split. Right? They have glass house, they have gas station, they have lighthouse. At some point, you got to give up something.
I wouldn't mind if they were just holding down the bridge, because that does make sure that you are playing as the last team from your side. As we see it, exactly what we thought was coming up. We see it play out here in front of us. Brazil found that opening. They knew it was already a 3-man. They go punish. Now they've brought it down to just one member of Jordan in front of them, and they will scrap their way through this bridge piece by piece, step by step. And they will try to take a fight, whatever is in their way. Completely different gameplay on the other side of the map. It's wild sends through the fields. Everybody's looking for a position, a shack, a dip. Maybe a bit of forest on the southern side here, but it's not looking good. Tolika picks up another one. And it's just absolute carnage in the field here. Look, there's more teams as well. It's not just Ukraine, it's Morocco on the northern side as well.
Ukraine holding down strong. We've just talked to them actually, about them and to them in the past. We said that these 2 games, they could have maybe even both these games up, right?
Yeah.
Arguably, they could have picked both of these games up. Unfortunately, Brazil just not making any mistake whatsoever. That's ultimately what it comes down to, is they were at a disadvantageous position, but Ukraine far from bad games. And this is what we used to see from these guys as well in the LESF tournaments. Right, when it comes to representing their nation, these guys are on point. They have so much spirit, they have so much drive to perform as much and as good as they can. So I think that's definitely part of why that really experienced roster as well is always getting some of these top spots. Let's see if it's going to be enough for the one spot in this game. They have picked themselves up to 2 frags, then a pretty good position, pretty centralized as well.
I'd love to see that from Ukraine as well. That what we just saw there. They have the best compound in the circle, but they've got Tulika just in the field, out by his lonesome, going for some frags. So the confidence is there. It looked dodgy for a second, but they are bleeding confidence right now, just reeking it across the lobby. Morocco on the other side, they found entries towards Myanmar. Nades are coming on back though. A bit of damage should be traded out here. Carryboy has got all the information for the squad. He knows exactly where Godspeed is. Chapo can run it down. Good nade. Player in the blue zone now. It's not looking good for Myanmar, but Morocco wants to get these kills. They don't want to waste all this time just to get nothing in the bag. It's one flush for now. That's one single measly point they've been able to pick up for all this util invested and all this time as well. Oh no.
Ooh, that is perfect for Myanmar. They will find Egypt. Egypt unfortunately just couldn't make it in. The zone was too much, and they've been caught in a lot of crossfires back up towards the northern side in the last couple of minutes. So Egypt not going to make it in. 3 points though. It's not a completely thrown away kind of round. Sure, it's not going to put you at the top spots, but at least they've made something happen. Egypt's been waiting for this for quite some time. Down to 12 players. Excuse me, 12 teams. 12 players would be crazy. 12 teams.
Look at France. They're just set up here at the bottom side of the field. They should absolutely destroy Myanmar coming in from the blue here if they're ready at all. If they have any sidelines, which they do. Shots come out. There's the first. They should be the second. Godspeed, he has to jump out immediately. He's still on the fire. That car's blowing up as well. Nowhere to go. A far knock comes into France. Helps alleviate the pressure a little bit, but Myanmar is not going anywhere. This is phase 4. It's ticking down. 3 first aids on Lewis James. But he should not be getting into placements here. Any chance at all. He has a chance to maybe ruin the game for France a little bit if he finds a knock in the backlines, but he's deciding to go elsewhere and try to find a different entry.
Good on him. Good on France as well to get a couple of shots in, even though they didn't secure any frags whatsoever. It's going to give them a little bit of confidence. They've been waiting for it to find advantageous fights. They haven't up until this point. That one stays up against Saudi Arabia. They must have made it across some way. I don't think that was through the bridge. I think we would have seen different fights if that was going to be the rotation path. But either way, not more skirmishes on the north side coming up. All of these teams need to rotate in, and Myanmar is going to be the first one to be taken down from all these teams that do need to make their way across that open field, as they will be out in 12th place.
Chapo picks that one up. A bit too much to deal with for Myanmar. Nice shots come out from Romulo. He's trying to do the damage. He's trying to get some points on the board. For a desperate Brazilian squad, the spray's not bad, but it's such long range. 7 hasn't made landfall yet. Looking for an angle, but he's well known. You saw easy, he was ready for it. They decided to not take the bridge. They decided to swim across, it seems, but not sure how much they can reward themselves with here. Wherever they go once the circle closes, they have nothing left on their side. That's Romulo knocked as well. Turkey, on the other hand, they were looking good this game. They're picking up piece by piece, picking up a few frags on that eastern side, and they've now picked themselves one of the best positions in this circle as well. Looking like they might make a stand for the board this game.
Oh, clean! That's a good shot.
Nice.
Scarface takes down Lazy. He's being stolen away though by Ukraine. And Ukraine thus picking up the 3rd frag as well. Turkey has been farming. That position should be farming as well. Let's see what else they can do with it. It's a position that you can play out of relatively easily. But also you have to watch so many different angles that sometimes it's just all a bit too much for that team playing up there. But Sokai, he's already ready for it. I love this. They know no one else coming to the eastern side because they were the team that moved into the eastern side. And thus, they can easily focus on everyone fighting towards the south. This is big for Turkey. That information alone might just make it a whole lot easier.
Beautiful spot for them to be in. Look at the map as well. Brazil is still with one single player in this, trying to heal through this blue. Not for long, I can guarantee you that. Knock comes into Turkey, but it's all just an opening for Chile to try and close out these warehouses. They really want to take the aggression here and now. But they are getting peppered from range. The util has to be so good. They have to blow up the team inside. Romania has to fall. for Chile to go anywhere with this game, but the circle has shifted so hard south. They might slow this down now, and they might try and reset away from this. They've lost a player for it, but they might just not want this anymore, Felix.
They might not. Chile has fallen back. They want to win one more zone, apparently. They have the job as well. Was that a Groza? I think that was a Groza, wasn't it? Oh, it might have been the AUG, actually, never mind. Either way, good spot, good utility on some of these players. A couple of nades between all of them. But, yeah, the big opportunity here is still missing out for them. I think it's going to be tough.
Look at Turkey, though. They're setting up for this warehouse already. They're not even just hiding out in their dip. They're not just playing the high ground. They are getting closer to the warehouse and trying to close out the angle. The field in the north, meanwhile, is exploding. France solo taking down Carryboy, actually eliminating Morocco with the help of Ukraine. Gets himself into placement points. That's unexpected points here for France from a game that looked horrible to start with. Ukraine, though, they're starting to take the first bits of damage, but they're still holding strong in their compound, and they're still just in such a power position. Look at a team like Bulgaria in the field. What can you even do?
It's by far, and we've seen this time and time again, it's by far the strongest position anywhere around that area.
Yeah.
By far. It's almost impossible to get breached at. If you defend it correctly, you'll have the information that someone is breaching you relatively early on, which is why it's fought for in phase 1, 2, and 3 very often. Especially in phase 1, I've seen teams so many times fight for phase 1 because there's only so many endings as well.
Yeah.
You always have a way of rotating out, and if it does shift south, you have an exact scenario that we see right now. Everyone for the northern side needs to move in. It's just a shooting gallery for you, and you'll pick up frags for absolutely nothing. No danger involved whatsoever. You can play on top of the roof. You can play outside the buildings. You might even have Turkish position sometimes because no one else is really having sidelines to deny you. So amazing stuff coming out from Ukraine, and they know exactly why they wanted this position. This is one more reason why there's another frag being picked up as France goes down.
France goes down. They're looking to pick up 2 more on Bulgaria if they can. They don't want Turkey to steal that away, but that might be out of their hands. But they will wait until their backs are clear, and then they will start making a push towards that Turkish squad. And many times, Turkey will be busy. Teams to their south. There's a few good shots through the smoke. And Bulgaria, you just have to feel bad for them at this point. They're just getting peppered. They're not going anywhere in this. They're getting slaughtered in the field. 1 player left standing, and this is what I meant. You can see it there. Turkey has split their attention very, very well. They left a player to watch the warehouses, make sure nothing fancy happening there, nothing happening without them knowing. And then they have Solkai off as well a little bit, just playing a different position in the circle, getting themselves a separate angle if they do need it. Another circle shift, another beautiful one for the compound. But that warehouse area on the southeast, Felix, that's going to blow up, and it's going to blow up fast.
Yeah, you're saying it's a beautiful one, but yeah, Ukraine is not at that much of an advantage anymore. But I think they're going to take home relatively safe placement performance. All these teams that we see right now will have to move, and Saudi Arabia is one of them. They're going to try and take down Chile, that now had to move in just towards their right-hand side. Not before taking down Easy, though. That's got to be the goal for now for this phase. Make sure Easy does not get flushed. If he gets flushed, it's going to be a whole lot of trouble for Saudi Arabia in terms of playing into it. Because you can see, on the west-hand side, everyone is ready for Saudi Arabia to make a move out of their compound, and that happens right now. You can see he's already being shot at. Nawaf has to cross towards that ridgeline. He does, but he realizes that ridgeline is not even inside the circle anymore, so he has to commit to that shack. He's been dropped off. Rest of his team drives on further. They want to save Easy, and I said this has got to be the goal. They want to make it happen on that edge. They need 4 players.
There's Solkai, though. The trap has finally been strung. Turkey was ready for this. Ready for a long time. Finds one knock over the top. Lawrence can't make it work. Christian takes a whole lot of damage. 2 players landing for the Romanian squad. Not a whole lot of HP in between the both of them. Scarface over the top does a little bit more damage, but does he get any of the confirms? He really needs them right now. The nades are looking beautiful right in the middle of the squad. And that's another knock, that's a flush, and that's perfection. 1 player left standing for Romania. Turkey is holding strong, but Turkey did lose a member in this, and that's massive, Alex.
Yeah, and he's being shot out of this one. Did it go towards Turkey? That's the question. Yeah, I think Ketch was able to catch him off guard. And they have picked up the 12th
Ukraine.
frag. That's nuts. And now Ukraine activates. They know that Turkey has been dropped down to just one player, and they have just rotated out of the compound and immediately found another knock. And that's what we want to see, Ukraine activating at the perfect timing. 3 players now, and I think the 4th is somewhere as well. Yeah, you can see the mini-map, so it shows 3, but Ukraine is still with 4 men left standing, and they are taking control of that eastern side any second now.
This is what they've been waiting for the whole time, waiting for Turkey to show some weakness. Now catch caught out as well. Once again, down to 1 member. They just have to find him and clean him up, and there they go, Ukraine. They're not waiting around, they are taking control. 9 elims and counting, the strongest team in the late game, and everybody else is ready with each other. Kyrgyzstan, they're looking hard in this, but they don't have time to set up for a fight. Ukraine can do whatever they want with this.
Yeah, they can. Spark knocked down as well. Nabov knocked down. All sorts of trouble. Saudi Arabia has to fight left, right, and center. There's another car driving into the mix. No takes down the path. And even Hidan doesn't stand a chance. It's just easy left standing as Saudi Arabia is being taken apart by Kyrgyzstan. They've all the space in the world, but to be fair, Saudi Arabia had the toughest entry out of all of them. They had to cross the street. There's so many positions you can play. And thus, it's kind of an easy one for Kyrgyzstan to clean up that edge. Question is, and that's the big one for this round, Ukraine, how much more space can you take before Saudi Arabia gets taken down? How much more space in this current safe zone as well can you take without Kyrgyzstan having angles on you? And I think just based off of the topology of that terrain, I think they should still have the advantage. The sidelines should be a little bit better on their end.
I think the solo in the shack is a big problem as well for Ukraine. You saw the shack still barely inside, and you saw how much of that ridgeline he makes harder for them to play. They would love to just sweep on down there, start getting some ground below Kyrgyzstan, get closer towards them. Now they have to worry about it, use all these smokes. They should still be fine just based on the numbers and based on the angles that Old Boy can get them from the compound, but easy is making things all but easy for Ukraine right now. This could be a clean cut late game. Just his shack is enough to make this tricky. The question is, does Ukraine sit it out? I think they will, and I think they should. Because yes, he might still be barely inside right now, but he won't be inside phase 8. And then once he makes the move, Ukraine and Kyrgyzstan can pretty much just go straight at it.
Couple of shots. Havlik taken down to about 20 HP. Almost would have happened. Almost. That would have been a massive, massive knock. But now the rotate comes on through, and that's got to be the big stretch now. Sending Old Boy into that dip. Let him play the ridge line, support him from the distance. And it works out just fine. Kyrgyzstan hasn't put up anything against them. They couldn't have, because Havlik was there to watch the angles. And so was Slonik on that west-hand side. Still, the only disadvantage they have going against them, and that, you know, Kyrgyzstan has gone for them.
Oh, look at the double nades.
Easy is still alive. Double nade comes on through. Nothing being picked up, though.
Good damage onto Flyke with the 3rd one. But they are trying to make the plays. They are trying to speed things up a little bit, put the pressure down. But with the circle taking another while to close, there is some time for Kyrgyzstan to reset. You can see, though, they have almost no space, no angles. Not really a whole lot to work with. They need to go for some crazy play. They need to hit a massive drive-by or something of the sort. Otherwise, it's going to get very hard. Oh boy, left alone now, and that's a risk. That's a big risk to be taken. If Kyrgyzstan can isolate that, it doesn't even have to be a good pull-up. Just fly past him with 3 cars, pull up below him. If you get the knock, you suddenly have a fair 3v3 on your hands. And it's not going to get any better than that. There's no better chance for Kyrgyzstan to do anything in this round. They would love to find a 1v3 somewhere. They would love to find a way into this zone somehow.
So much space has been taken, though, in the meanwhile. Ukraine has used the opportunity that they have been given to absolute perfection. Make sure to send their Old Boy and Havlik into that dip as soon as possible, and that's what they've done. And that just leaves Kyrgyzstan with almost a sliver of terrain left standing. And Easy is still on their side as well. Ukraine has delayed this so very long.
I think they're just waiting. They're waiting to get the secure kill. Oh, bit of a whiff from Nord, but there's multiple players there. Effect had the angle as well. They want to get this kill in the 2nd place before they do anything, right? They realize they're at a massive disadvantage versus the Ukraine. So they want to make sure they get one more placement point, one more kill point, but they have failed at doing that, and that makes things a little bit more tricky now. A knock onto Ukraine could go a long way, though. It's not to be found. It's on the other side, though. Flecky finds one. Small mistakes make this all so doable, but we talked about it. There's no space for them. They need to get out of there, Felix.
Yeah, they need to, but look at this. Slonik is being taken down as well. That's the second knock. Kyrgyzstan, they might just turn this around. 12 frags for Ukraine, and they're looking to make it 15. More cars now being driven as Effect somehow makes it out of that dip without being shot at almost entirely. I think a couple of shots rang down towards the cover. He hasn't been touched at least. And that means 2v3 now. They've got the angles advantage. Suddenly, this is all turned upside down.
This is bad for Ukraine. They're about to fumble another winning endgame. Now they have to an extremely hard 2v3 to win. Look at the angles. Kyrgyzstan has been able to get themselves. Old boy, he's just treading dangerous water here.
Oh, he needs to hit this.
Nade goes past. And once again, Kyrgyzstan slow it down. They were almost stagnant, almost inactive for 2-3 minutes of that game, but it's paid off. The mistakes were made by Ukraine, and sometimes that's all you need to play your own game. As soon as Old Boy gets spotted, he should be taken out here. Effect is the one that gets taken out to 20 HP though. Oh. Not with another spray, doesn't connect again. He needs to connect some of these bullets soon, and there it is. There's the damage dealt, but the knock comes out of Effect, and it's an instant trade. 2v1 now.
Yeah, Tulika down on the ridgeline. Flecky has been taken down. It's just not an Effect. He's got the Asphalt stay close, and he's already being shot from the distance. It doesn't even matter. Kyrgyzstan, in the end, they do win it in a turnaround of events that I don't think we expected at all. The first play, I think, was Havlik that's been taken down on that ridgeline towards the western side, and I think Flecky was the one to win it, actually. That was the key moment in this round. Unfortunately for Ukraine, that's the third time they've fumbled this. Yes, it's a second place, but look at their faces. They're not going to be happy about this. This is the third time almost where they could have taken it away, and they should have as well. Perfect scenario for them all around.
They end up close to winning this tournament, and they end up in second place at the end. They're going to know what the games were that cost them. This one hurts. This one, they played really well for a very long time. But to give it away in the end is always the most painful, and Kyrgyzstan really wasn't making crazy plays. They were just waiting for a mistake.
You also kind of don't know what to expect, because last time it was barely enough to reach North George. You had a contest. This time around you can reach South George, but even then you're probably going to have a contest, because you know Bulgaria is really close to you. At least the one thing going for them is the circle, and it looks like no one's really contesting them deep in South Georgia, as we can see. They will once again land there relatively safe, as Bulgaria is deciding to go for the crates once more.
There's almost no circle that could have been better for them. This is really, really good. To join together with the plane path again, right? The plane path has somehow, by being western, forced a lot of teams to jump east. I'm not sure how that went down, but barely anybody around the western side of the map. Tons of space for Brazil to grab, but this is a compound with a whole lot of players in it. No space to be found here. Mongolia find a few. Indonesia on the other side. I think it's just one left standing. The flick with the S6 is not enough. But what is that? There's another pull-up. Romania wants this as well.
Yeah, they want to get a piece of the cake here, apparently. Piece of the points.
Oh, if they know how many knocks they're flying in.
They should as well, though. That's the thing. They should. They were in distance to definitely read the knocks and the kill feed. And Indonesia are down to just one player, and the meanwhile has used that time to get one of the players back up just this very second, and maybe even another one any moment now. But they have to be fast. If Romania wants to make this breach happen, they already should have driven down there, but it doesn't look like they will. Maybe I'm mistaken.
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, we will see ourselves a breach, and that is interesting now. Indonesia might just be the second team in big trouble, as 4 angry Romanians have now just reached the compound. Everyone is back up alive though, and that makes it a 4v4.
What am I witnessing? That was delayed so far. Now the shotgun in the door might find the first. It is traded, but it's already a knock towards their side. That's a 1 HP player vaulted on in. Christian does quick work with it, and they're still at a massive advantage here. Don't get me wrong, they've just given a lot of time for Indonesia to reset this, but it's not going to be enough. Just one left standing on the outside, and just like that, it is the 4 frags in the end. It was looking weird, it was looking wonky. But it is the... What is happening?
No, there's no way.
Nah.
Ain't no way.
That's not real.
I can see Pakistan just drive on through as well. This round, it's not 3 knocks in the compound though. Quite the opposite. Everyone is live. Everyone is standing. And if they do this breach again, I'm not so sure.
I have no idea if they have
meds.
meds.
Going to come out on top again.
I have no idea if they have meds, and I've seen that they don't have a lot of bullets.
But they don't either. Look, Pakistan don't either.
Pakistan also doesn't know this, right? You can see that 2 people are knocked. You cannot see that 2 people don't have first aids, right? So I don't think they're going to go for this, but they could still get some absolute freebies here just by holding down these angles. There's 1 car that I see in that compound, and that car is being camped by 4 Pakistani players right now, all just set up and waiting.
Good stuff.
Very obvious to me, though, that Romania knows about this, because otherwise they would not be just frozen in the compound here.
Yeah.
They've heard them coming.
Most likely. Looks like they still don't want to budge, though. Really looks like they want to have an angle on this compound, and they're not leaving this until Romania does. Shamir here, you can see.
He's going to smoke the car.
Inside there was a tower. Yeah, he might. But Romania knows this apparently as well. Everyone's just...
they're well aware. Yeah. They're well aware. That's what I'm saying.
Everyone is aware.
There's no way they would be freezing in the compound like this. But what are their options? Their options are running away on the south and hoping that there's no angle, but they don't know what angles Pakistan has and what they don't. And then they could also smoke the car, but that is so risky too. I'm thinking smoke the car, have 1 guy try and drive it to the south side of the compound.
Really?
Yeah.
You go for the car play?
I think so.
I wouldn't touch that thing with a 10-foot
yeah,
ball,
but
to be honest.
do you want to play the game on foot from here?
Yeah.
Do you know that Pakistan only has high ground angles? Like, maybe they have 1 player somewhere towards the southern side. If you're running out, you're dead in the water, so...
Maybe.
Either play is
but
just...
like, realistically, you take the car where you drive it. Into the middle of the compound?
No,
let
south side of the
everyone
compound.
get in?
South side. Try to get around back of the 1 story.
Maybe.
That's what they're smoking for as well.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. We'll take a look and see if it works. I highly doubt it, but he's made it all the way past. He's gotten the car. And he jumped in the compound. There's a trade as well. How is this happening? Pakistan loses a player in a situation they should never have lost a player in.
Romania still leaves here, surely.
Romania, I want to see them just engage this at this point. Just drive it down.
Oh my god, they're sending...
God,
they're sending into the solo. 4 guys, 1 car. What is going on? They instantly find it too. Oh, it's disaster for Pakistan. Goku has no HP to react on this alley and wants to do something with it. There's 2 knocks. There's nobody just had any HP to work with on that Romanian squad, but they're happy to claim another kill point here by the looks of things, and now they're finally disengaging away from it. It's an absolute mess. But I can't fault them for the aggression.
I think it was perfect. I would have isolated that player as well. I mean, you have that much of a mess.
If they even knew he was there, maybe that was their play they were trying to make.
It seemed relatively straight on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with them. Maybe they didn't have the information. But he was the only one ever peeking. So if anyone got spotted, I think it must have been him. So makes a whole lot of sense that they tried to isolate him. Either way, it didn't work out perfectly. Romania down to just 1 player, but 5 frags being secured. Far from a bad round, especially considering they had this very, very troublesome contest in phase 1.
Now, the quiet after the storm. Just the most most wild pull-up by Romania into that compound. But 5 frags is not all too shabby. 5 points a game is not how you win a tournament, though. 5 points a game is fine for your bad games, not for your average. Brazil on the other side, we said they would have a lot of space on the west. They have claimed some of it. But they still have to figure out what they want to do with this in the long term. How they want to set themselves up for success, but not a whole lot of moves are going to be coming out in the next 20 seconds before the circle pops and tells us a whole lot more about where we're going in this. Oh, hi, that's Romania.
Yeah, welcome back.
And goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye. They're going to be the first ones, at least in comparison to Pakistan, inside the safe zone, but the first ones to leave as the next zone shifts all the way towards the eastern side. Brazil is not going to be happy about this. Kyrgyzstan is not going to be happy about this either. And I gotta be honest, I can't even fault them. I would have committed towards that western coast side as well. It's way easier to rotate out of it than to get into it if it does shift west.
Big shift to the east. Gatka still free as well. Whoever drives past figures that out. Got to get themselves a nice compound to play the game out from. Turkey realizing the yellows are free. Ketch is checking the double whites, but Ukraine is there faster and more joined up. The only thing I would have maybe liked to see from Brazil is actually start driving before the circle pops, because you didn't really have a pressure on the west, so get yourself ready for the eastern shift, but they were happy to play that with a little bit slower pace, and will now have to wait and see what they do with it. That's Kyrgyzstan finding one. That's a team you don't want to meet. That's a team you don't want to give frags to either. It's a second one as well. It's looking like a breach is in full effect, but Kyrgyzstan is clearly getting the better side of things right now.
Looks like it. Brazil now in direct competition on the overall leaderboard with Kyrgyzstan, and looks like it's 2 quick frags. Effect goes down as well. Zerek flashed out in just a matter of moments afterwards, and that just leaves Flyke and Nord now left standing to fight off the 2 Brazilian players. It's down to a 2v2 to be exact. He's going to come out on top here. Flyke's got the DBS, Beta back and forth, but it's a double crossfire coming in from Brazil on the other side. Where's his teammate? Nord now being taken down to really low HP. It's just back and forth and back and forth. What a double nade coming out from Brazil! And Flyke, as well as Nord, goes down immediately. And that's Brazil now picking up the 4th frag. Is it really worth it, though? I think we're both shaking our heads. It really isn't, to be honest. It really isn't. But nevertheless, Brazil can afford this. Kyrgyzstan, not so much.
Yeah. And I mean, at the end, right, it's a messy fight. Both teams lose players, but they bring it back so nicely. The bait and switch around the compound, dancing around the door with the DBS while your teammates cooking the nade. Probably not something that they orchestrated intentionally, but something that, again, just works out beautifully.
Yeah.
When it comes to team play from Brazil, and it is the winners of the last game that do get caught by it.
Saudi Arabia back in the compound. One of the few teams that haven't really seen anyone just yet. Everyone seems to, I mean, it's a crazy round, to be honest, in the early game. Match 4 seems to be yeah, whole lot of skirmishes all around, except for the center compounds for some reason. And that's been kind of the key advantage for Saudi Arabia. Look at the split they have. They've got essentially the 2 best center compounds in the circle. So for any Saudi Arabian out there, you kind of want to take a closer look at this round, because it might just be a really good one. Yeah, next circle shifts towards Mount Everest as the circle center. Bulgaria being the huge favorites, but I say huge favorites, at least position-wise favorites. I'd still much prefer Saudi Arabia's position. More kill potential, and you're almost always going to get contested up on Mount Everest. You cannot hold that as just one team. There's too many positions up there.
Speak about Holden, Morocco has committed all of their resources and all of their time to hold out Brazil here. They don't want to let them get into the circle. They have identified this team as a threat, and we want to eliminate them as soon as possible. Now this end comes out. A few bullets would be enough to knock out Adrian. And there's the first few shots connected. Romelu down to 1 HP. Adrian down to half. They're desperate to send it somewhere that they can actually heal up from. But they have maybe just created enough distance away from the Moroccan squad to slip out of their fingers, just barely. One bullet could have done the trick, but Lots invested here for Morocco, and very little to be gained.
Let's see what Bulgaria does with this. They're in a pretty good position, but to be fair, as we've said, this is usually not a position that you can play uncontested. So someone at some point is going to make their way up that hillside, and if that happens, it's a whole lot of trouble usually. And these fights very rarely go clean for any side, really. But this time around it might be different because we only have 11 teams in phase 3, which is just crazy to think about. So many early skirmishes, so many teams, despite going out early, still picking up frags though. That's
yeah.
the even crazier part about this. Romania 5 frags, 5 eliminations. Indonesia as well, 4 frags. Even Kyrgyzstan picks up 2 Brazilian players. And at least, I mean, if you go out early, at least you want to hurt your direct competition. So yes, you've kind of given them 2 frags, but you're also taking 2 frags. So at least something has gone your way.
You just hate to be sitting out these games, right? Even if you get a few frags, you hate to be sitting out these games and seeing a team like Ukraine just set up, start playing out of their compound, trying to take space, potentially playing a big game out of here. Boil Boy gets himself ready. With Tulika on the close range. Solkai wants to go for some sort of reposition with the car here. Tries to find the information without going for a straight up fight. This definitely is favoring the Ukraine side for now. There's another circle closing on in though. Might just send us somewhere completely else. Brazil on the other side, they've watched this. They're still being hunted by the Moroccan squad. Look at the map. They're still trying to close them out from the circle. They have very clearly made an enemy here.
Circle closing in 5 seconds. Yes, they do have time, but it might just be less than they want to have. And the next circle, wow, it goes the way of Pakistan and excuse me, it goes the way of that's not the way of Pakistan actually. Never mind. And Saudi Arabia. And also Morocco now that have just rotated in. Brazil in the meanwhile is going to be eliminated. It was a matter of time until these guys have a bad game as well. So I'm not too worried. 4 points still, salvaging as much as they can. But I'm talking about Morocco rotating in. Interestingly enough, looks like they wanted to breach Pakistan, but they realized this combat is taken. They immediately turn around. So good on Morocco. I would have understood that breach as well. It's the best position and no one is there to third party, but they want to take things slow.
It's a hard breach as well. You're flying over the ridge. You don't know how the enemy's set up. You don't know if it's a 4-man in the compound. Plenty of potential to drive into nades or crossfire setups. So stay composed. Play your game from the northern side. You might just find yourself a nice bit of space if Jordan and France engage in a fight here. So plenty of chances. Turkey coming the same way as well. This might clash, and this might clash big here in a bit. Turkey seems to be the one that actually ends up with the best pathing. France really unsure where they want to go with this. And then Jordan still stuck in the warehouses as well. That northwestern side has to explode here, folks. Oh, that's one way.
Drive on through, takes down.
What?
He almost took down the second one. Clever is being traded out though by Kerry Boy. Oh, they're still looking for his first couple of frags. Chabot now takes down France as well, who've just arrived in the dip down below, but that third party might just be a tiny bit delayed as the fights all around that hillside have already been cleaned up. So the sidelines are back in Jordan's and is kind of as well in Morocco's favor. None of these teams have really lost a player to each other. Clever down there might even be able to get rest. You can see that everyone's trying to get some angles on it. Ragnarok is covering for his teammates, so yeah, taking down Clever is going to be a little bit of a predicament for Morocco. And as I say that, yes, he does get the flush, but he's being traded out. That was not worth it at all. The rest of his team is already down on the hillside, down towards the compound, and that means Jordan knows this, and they will try and close the distance. This is dangerous. Marshall needs to put up another performance. He takes that one. He's being taken down on his own, though. And at the very least, now there's no support that can really come anymore. 2 players left standing for Morocco, both of them in the compounds. No chance to get them back up.
Lazy's still up close, but he's alone, and it's a messy fight. Now Kerry Boy is getting flushed out. It's not what Morocco would have wanted. They had the control, they had the space set up, but they can't hold the aggression from Jordan. They're actually bleeding members at that point. Turkey has made the breach. They have decided to go for the compound all or nothing. They're finding the entries. Good nade to come back from Goku. But he Doesn't find the knock just yet. This one could be an absolute banger though if he gets it on the outside wall. It's looking beautiful. It's a good bounce.
Wow!
But just with a sliver of HP, they survive it. Oh, it's a mess. He's dancing, he's dodging and weaving, but just needs to connect something soon. Because they have reset. They've gotten the numbers back up. They're now closing out his space, and it's getting harder and harder for him to survive. More nades coming on in. He's got nowhere to go. Clean breach from Turkey. It's the first time we've really seen them pull things off in such a dominant fashion.
Yeah, amazing. They've secured themselves deep circle center, and they've done it cleanly. 3 frags being picked up and haven't lost a player, but it shifts back to Saudi Arabia. And this is the thing that I was talking about, like 3 phases beforehand. Look how strong that position is, right? Look how much space they can get from just being split around that Gak area, no one contesting them. And this is the good thing about this. Now you kind of reap the benefits off of your kind of structured play in the first couple of phases. So yeah, want to see Saudi Arabia now get a couple of frags. That's the only thing that they've really been missing out on. And look at the leaderboard. There's a couple of teams out there that definitely haven't. Ukraine, for example, immediately back into the mix. And I gotta shout them out once more. They're not having an easy way in there whatsoever. They're constantly fighting and they're constantly coming out on top. That eastern side is one more reason to have a look at them in the grand scheme of things for this tournament. They've been performing really well up until this point.
And they're scrapping their way on through. Now they should be able to slot in below Saudi Arabia here. The only problem is moving past that compound if they do have to. So they want to keep their options open. I think they want to keep their option to go back up to the east as well open for now, because crashing that compound is mighty hard and driving past it is nearly impossible. So if phase 6, 7, whatever, if they go north, Ukraine, they want to be able to wrap around here. That's why they're not committing to anything just yet. Jordan, 3 members up still. They've got a solo in their back that they have to worry about, that they don't seem to be all too aware about, as they're focusing all their attention up towards Bulgaria.
Jordan, I've been waiting for a round like this as well. Just frags being secured each round. This time around it's 6 already and we're only in phase 5. But there's a lot in front of them that they have to conquer to get into late game. It's not as easy as it looks. You can really tell by the amount of angles other teams have on them. There's the Myanmar players, maybe I think it's the France players actually right behind them.
Yeah, France.
And there's Bulgaria right on top of them as well. And these types of angles are so dangerous because you get an arc, you can't really do anything with it. They get an arc, they just rain down on top of you. Ukraine is now engaging the next team. This is important. Whoever wins this outside has got an easy entry to the next zone. First player goes down, and that's from Ukraine. Halfling trains things out. He has to do things right because he unfortunately was one of the reasons why they didn't win last game, and he did in this instance.
Look at the HP.
Ukraine takes 2 more players and stays alive as 3.
Old boy with the drop shot gets away with 1 HP. The fight on the mountain, meanwhile, is heating up. The nades are barraging down, and little does Jordan know this isn't the only problem they have. That France solo is still around. There's a snake in the grass waiting to bite them in the backside. But it's Bulgaria that are finally sweeping down from Everest. They've had enough. They've waited around long enough. They are trying to make the run. I see Bandita on an angle that looks mighty fine to me. He's going to peek around that Miracle. He shouldn't have anything to work with here at the tree anymore. He's got a few nades though. He's got 4 more of those. If he just lands a few, he might just buy the time he needs. But look at that. He's so overwhelmed. He's so outgunned. It doesn't matter. He's the one who connects.
But he gets traded out immediately. Ricardo's there. The drive-through. Lave trades things out. And he takes the headshot
No way.
against Supra. And that brings things back. But he's the last player. In the shots from up top are just a little bit too much. The angles are too good for Bulgaria. So yes, they will pick up 3 frags, but at what cost as well? Like, what a defense coming out from Jordan. That's massive.
That's a
7
disaster.
points as well being picked up, and a couple of placement points to top that off. Really well played. Bulgaria is gonna fall short to Saudi Arabia, who've just now gotten themselves that last frag on them, and there are still 4 players alive as well.
Where does Turkey go here, though? They're looking for the field. You can see Scarface. He wants to make the play. He wants to clean out this angle. They want the lower ground here. They want the ridge. The first knock goes towards Morocco, though, still severely outnumbered. And it's a pull-up into the field that should get them the angle, that should get them everything opening they need. Catches almost caught there though, but Solkai finally. That's the angle we were talking about. That's the angle that cleans it up. And Turkey, they should be able to consolidate here just barely. Get the res on through. 4 for Saudi Arabia in the compound. 3 for Ukraine on the south. And 4 for Turkey. But where do they go here, Felix? They've got no space. They've got nothing. They got a breach. Or they can try and delay, but really it's a tiny dip on their side of the road that's in. That's not how you get any more points. That's how you survive one more circle, but what do you do after?
It's tough. And Saudi Arabia realizes all of that as well. Look how much space they take, how much angles they have on almost every single one. And they can count as well, I assume. So they know, Turkey is probably still up as a 4-man. They saw them fighting. They haven't lost anyone. So that means there's only 3 players left alive. And they can probably guess it's Ukraine. So that's why they can split out as much as they can. Ukraine couldn't earlier, right? They didn't know Miramar was alive in the game that we've just seen. This time around, it's a lot more easier for the teams up in the center to kind of figure out who's really left standing and who do you have to expect where. So a lot more structure play is what we're going to see in this late stage. Phase 6, ladies and gentlemen, as we are approaching the last 3 teams.
Time is ticking on down. Love to see that Saudi Arabia is flexing out more. Not sitting in the compound, in the comfort of where they've been surviving. Easy getting himself up on that mountainside for more information, for potentially an angle as well, right? If Turkey breaches the north side of the compound, he'd be in their backs, ruining it completely. But Turkey is happy to wait it out here. They've got a phase 7, and they've got a phase 8 coming. They're thinking that maybe, just maybe, they can find some openings here before they have to move. It's very unlikely that the phase 7 is going to keep them in. It's very unlikely that they're going to be able to make a whole lot of plays, especially now with the blue closing on in. They don't have space to speed up cars, right? Whatever they do, they'll be very, very slow coming over this ridgeline. But then again, Saudi Arabia has pushed so much of their focus towards other sides of the map. Could still be doable. I don't fancy their chances. But we'll have to wait and see what the zone does. And there it is. Tough zone for Ukraine. Even worse for Turkey. And it has to be a miracle here, Felix, for the home team to not walk away with the win.
Well, we've seen a miracle already. Just last game, Kyrgyzstan somehow pulling things back. This time around, it's Ukraine with a man disadvantage against these 2 top teams. So who the hell do we know? What do we know at this point, right? It could still very much happen, but yeah, it looks really, really unlikely, especially since Ukraine and Turkey are looking to fight against each other. And there comes the push. Scarface, a couple of smokes right in front of him, but he's going to have to hit a couple of really big shots. Oh boy, takes down Catch, but that's Scarface with a good trade. Is it going to be enough? Havlik takes down another one, and Catch is being taken apart from the WAF. Suddenly, it's only Tulika, but even Turkey has lost 2 players. It looks like the one team that's really going to run away with this is going to be Saudi Arabia. Easy, we've just seen him in an interview as well. Takes down one more, and there goes Turkey, and there goes Ukraine. Just one player left standing, and even he being taken down from very, very far. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another winner. A team that we haven't seen in the 1 spot up until this point. It is going to be Saudi Arabia.
Well deserved there in the end, flexing out on all sides, making sure nothing could ever happen to their compound, making sure that they get the kills that they want as well, right? Not letting Ukraine clean up that fight at all. Easy steps over the P90, confidence kicks in, and they clean it up in the end. Well played. Like we said before, you got to win those. You can't throw these away.
Yeah.
Damn, is that another 2nd place for Ukraine?
I think that's another.
Are they just the 2nd place kings?
I think Tulika was the last one. Tulika Havlik was one of the last players to get taken down. Turkey died just before that. But another good game for Turkey as well, right? I mean, we've got to give it up to them as well. I said that they were going to be one of the favorites coming into this tournament as well. One of the longest standing rosters, and that in and of itself, playing in so many mixed teams is going to be a huge advantage, right? You just know what your teammate is going to do when you push certain ridgelines, and this is a good scenario of that. If maybe, who knows, maybe Turkey would have had a chance if Saudi Arabia didn't react as proactively as they did, but good on Saudi Arabia to do that. So yeah, well-deserved win. Remember we said it phases beforehand that they were going to be the team with the best position.
They were the team to beat.
Yeah.
But also, I love how they played it out. they were flexing out of that compound, making sure Ukraine doesn't get too antsy around the east, making sure they have an angle to the north. But then when they realize, okay, the zone's closing on in, Turkey doesn't really have anywhere to go anymore, they shift their attention a whole lot more towards the west, so far that they're easily able to flex out of that compound. Yes, they should always win that game, but they get themselves 3 more kills than they maybe would have to if they were just sitting in the compound making sure they win the game. So well played by them, and well played by Turkey as well, right? Like, they're stuck in that dip, 4-man up, sure, but they've got like 2 vehicles to work with, a few nades. They have to make a really rough send, but the trades are there for them. The DBS has come out, and they get themselves another few frags on the board.
Yeah, the only thing I could have imagined that maybe would have worked is if Turkey would have breached the compound instead. I think that would have been a chance, but they only had like 2 cars or something like that, so at that point it becomes really, really unlikely.
And then you're fighting the 4-man team as well, and you're fighting the harder position. You're kind of playing for the win, but your chances to win are so...
But you are playing for the win.
Exactly.
But I get what you're saying, but yeah.
I respect the play for second place. Gets himself 2 kills. Doesn't get them the second place,
it makes more sense, especially since they knew Ukraine was only a 3-man. So they knew going into this fight, they would have had the man advantage. So yeah, good on Turkey. Once again, second or third place, it's only a point difference. I think up to this point, they picked up 2 frags against Ukraine as well. So that's essentially, 2 or 3 more points. I guess that was the correct decision. We'll have to wait and see the overall leaderboard at the end of the 18 games, to be exact, to really have an idea on whether or not they should have played for the win. But that's too early to tell.
I think that was pretty well played towards the end. I can't get over how that early game went. I can't get over the fact that we had 4 teams in one compound, essentially. Yeah,
and like 5 countries being eliminated before phase 5. Before phase 3 or phase 2.
Pakistan saying we're going in as well. we want in on this one.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the winner's on the stage. We've had him before. We have him again. It's the home champion from Saudi Arabia. Easy with the interview.
And ladies and gentlemen, congratulations for Saudi taking this map. نقول مبروك وألف مبروك. شنو إحساسك؟
الله يبارك فيك. هذا الهدف إن احنا نلعب ونحصل نقاط كثيرة إن شاء الله اليوم.
Pretty much, they're out there to get as much points as they can. So the question will be as the following, ladies and gentlemen. In the previous interview, he said, it's all about, let's split the team and pretty much conquer as much space as we can. But in this one, they went as a group. فالسؤال هو في المقابلة اللي سبقت قلت إن لا خلينا نتفرق خلينا ناخذ مساحة أكبر بس هالمرة لا جيتوا كجروب شو اللي تغير في الكلام؟
حلو لما يخدمك الزون وتجي أنت سنتر الزون لازم تجتمع تجتمعوا في كمباوند واحد ولا تجتمعوا في أي مكان لأنك أنت سنتر زون بس الجيم اللي قبل الزون طلعنا فصفينا ظهرنا وأخذنا مساحات لأن ما عندنا كمباوند ما عندنا نقطة تجمع فيها ما في إلا أوبن فالأوبن لازم تاخذ مساحة أكبر في الجيم.
Okay, يعطيك العافية. Pretty much it's all about the strategy and the zones. This time it makes more sense for us to come as a group due to the size and the space of what happened in the strategy. الحين we are done with Erangel. Going to Miramar. شنو استعداداتكم? What's your preparation?
هدفنا في كل مابات ان احنا نحصل اعلى نقاط ممكنة في اليوم يعني نطلع باعلى نقاط ممكن ان شاء الله.
Well, pretty much they are ready. Main point doesn't change. Let's kinda collect as much points as we can, as much as we can. Now you are the in-game leader. How do you feel about that? كونك أنت حين القائد في الموضوع كله.
أكيد مسؤولية كبيرة بالذات إنك تمثل المنتخب وبلادك يعني فإن شاء الله نمثلهم خير تمثيل إن شاء الله.
Inshallah. Pretty much he feels proud of being the in-game leader and pretty much to be the representative of Saudi Arabia. And now heading back to the Atlas. Take it away, Talents.
The hometown heroes fight back and get themselves a chicken dinner in the final wrangle of the day. What a spicy finish. And once again, second place. Who had it? Ukraine. What doing? Honestly, at this point, I mean, look, we're not wrong in choosing them as one of the teams to constantly be there on top in terms of gameplay and strategy. But in that situation, it was once again a difficult thing, but I want to get to that a little bit later. I want to focus on the compound breaches that we had at the beginning of the game. Neptura, walk me through how many times, how many squads just, met their fate in that small compound?
It felt like the whole lobby.
Yeah.
It really did. It was one after the other after there. Great timing from everybody, right? You have that one fight coming in.
Except Pakistan.
And then they were there, and this is what I keep talking about, right? It's like the IGL, he goes, hey, they're not doing so good. We could take advantage of this. They get there, they set up, and it's like, oh, actually, maybe we should wait a little bit. It's like, no, the timing. Let's go. You had the timing. It was such a really good fight from all of those teams concerned. But it did end up happening where Pakistan just really just delayed it. They delayed. They came out in the end. I really liked how Romania did push that solo. It didn't work, but I liked the thought behind it. But I mean, DK, it was just a little bit of a mess. Ever so.
Yeah.
Lovingly.
Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. Say it was a.
It was a little mess.
It was messy. Let's go with that. It's a messy
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah.
I
It's
prefer
tiny bit.
Ronaldo, but it's fine.
A very little tiny one that we had there. But another amazing play that we also saw coming through this match, right, was the confident push coming through from Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Right.
was very, very well
Such
timed.
a smooth execution. They just moved in. It just looked so comfortable. Right? Yes, it didn't quite pan out exactly the way they would have wanted to, but the I don't know. It was so great to watch. I mean, it just looked so comfortable. Like it just had to be that way. And if we can see more performances like that come through, I think we're gonna have a few more teams that are gonna be smiling quite comfortably. And speaking about comfortable smiles, of course, here we have it, right? Our winner chicken dinner team stats going straight over to the side of Saudi. But I mean, the Saudi team as well. What a play this game.
They held their ground in that compound. They, like Easy mentioned in the interview, yes, their idea and their plan was to kind of split up a little bit, get more information, work on covering more ground. But the zone that they were given, straight to the center of the zone, make sure that you have one of those compounds, and all they had to do was just wait. Another team that had the similar kind of idea was Bulgaria on Everest, but we were looking at them for a long time, and we're thinking like, why aren't they taking shots at the people that are passing by? Like, what's going on? And at some point, it was clear that they didn't have that much ammunition. And DK, like, you noticed why they didn't have that much ammunition as well.
Yeah, because I mean, what happened with them is they dropped down, went into the container yard, grabbed weapons, and just headed up
Just
to Everest. Right, grabbed the weapons and left, and they stayed there as long as they could. So it explains everything. Why we didn't see too many engagements coming in from their side. I mean, one person that we did see quite a bit of engagement though come from is none other than Easy.
Yeah, and you're talking about the IGL of the team as well. Like, an
Yeah.
IGL fragging out on a stage this big, that's definitely gotta boost his confidence. And definitely, I think we're going to see an even better performance from Saudi Arabia. And the thing is, or rather, the fact is, they've had a good, consistent performance throughout the 4 games that we've had so far. They've been getting good limbs, they've been getting placement points, and they're having a nice balance. But other teams that needed to get those placement points, and you predicted it as well, DK, it was Morocco. They managed to, again, I think they got top 5 or top 4 with a couple of limbs as well. So good catch on that one.
I mean, so we asked who the top 3 was going to be, right?
True.
We got one.
Close enough. You know, I'll give you half a point for that.
Did
There
better
we
than
go.
us.
Yeah,
Half a point's better than no points.
yeah, true. And
Right.
speaking of no points,
No. We're not going there.
oh yes, I am. Whatever happened to the French lineup?
Okay.
Neptura,
Okay,
walk
listen.
me through. What happened?
My boys.
Yes, what
Qu'est-ce
happened
tu
to the
fais là?
boys?
Qu'est-ce tu fais, hein? Because
They're not even
What are
on
they
the
doing?
damage chart.
no, because they were there. They had the
In spirit.
circle. It was fine. And then they unfortunately pushed into like 2 different teams. Never a good idea. So that was a little bit of a mishap. I had high hopes for them until that point. So please do something else, or at least get some info before you rotate. Right? I don't know if
True.
that was like a panic thing or what, but like, you know, get it together slightly. You know, I still believe in you. Let's just do it.
I mean, look, it's only day 1, and
Exactly.
with DK, we talked about this in the pre-show as well. We mentioned how like you're allowed to make you have room to make a couple of mistakes in a tournament like this with 18 games in total. But again, try not to make too many, I guess, on day 1, because it's going to be very difficult for you to not make any mistakes day 2 and day 3. You can work on them as much as you can, but there's still going to be, I don't know, maybe the zone might not work for you. Maybe some teams will prep something for you in day 2 and day 3, like we've seen with hot drops. Maybe they're going to start studying your rotations a little bit more from this tournament rather than just the qualifiers. But quickly, let's have a look at the scoreboard. And once again, Ukraine up there in eliminations, 2nd place, 6 points in placements. At this point, just just, I mean, production has their work cut out for them. They don't have to change Ukraine's position in the leaderboard
No.
at all. It's just give them the 6 points, check how many
I was
elims they
gonna
have.
say they do have to change it because they go to first. As you were saying, I was like, wait, Brazil went out early. Ukraine had a really good game.
That is true.
Now we have a new leader.
Yeah, that's true. Ukraine with 55 points, 9-point lead. They have 9 elims more than Brazil. Same amount of placement points, but of course without those chicken dinners. Saudi Arabia in third with 44. Turkey as well, coming up there with 39 points. So, I mean, they're getting up there. They're getting a little bit closer. And you mentioned as well that Jordan needs to get a couple of points, and then they're going to jump up a little bit in the standings. They did that, jumping from the second page to first. They just need to do a little bit more. I want to say, like, the goal for these teams is like, from Indonesia all the way to the bottom is if you want to compete for that first place, try and cross the 35-point
I'd
threshold.
agree. Yeah, 35 sounds really nice there. It's not impossible to do in the final. What was it? 3 games we've
2
got
games.
left. 2 games.
Yeah,
Only
we
2
got
games?
2 Miramars, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's still plenty to do. Especially how Jordan has been performing in the last couple of games. They're starting to ramp up a little bit, and I think they will actually do quite well there.
I mean, seriously, looking at the points though, from 5th place up, they've got a good balance of aggression, placement points.
Yeah.
From there down, it's still anyone's game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? And they can catch up like that. Now, what gets interesting moving into match number next, right? We're heading into a little bit of that desert action all the way over towards Miramar. And what I'm looking forward to here is teams that are in need of points did amazingly well in the qualifiers. Not getting 1 chicken dinner, but multiple chickens. I want to see that now come onto the battlefield here. Even it being day number 1, I want to see them come in and just, just kind of flex a little bit. So like, you know what, Erangel, keep it. Sanhok, keep it. Miramar, it's ours.
Nice.
We'll show you.
Yeah, but the question is it gonna be enough
It
for
can
you
be.
to just I mean, if you just focus on Miramar, you got 6 games in your
For
favor.
today.
Yeah.
For
Oh.
today, it could be enough.
Oh, I thought the idea was just like, just sit Miramar.
No. We're still on day 1. Right,
Okay.
We're not day
Sorry,
2,
I
day
jumped
3
to like
yet.
day 3, game 5.
No, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. But I think for day 1, day 1, definitely looking at that Miramar pacing, right? I think that could definitely shift quite a bit with regards to the performances to some of the teams that are yet to lock that final mode. Right, day 1, we'll call it the teething day. Right, just trying to get into the hang of everything, get in their comfort zone, and then once they've clicked, I mean, we've seen this already happen in the first few matches of a few of the teams, right? Brazil, phenomenal, just so aggressive, and then just dialing back a little bit on the throttle. Now I'm expecting other teams to kind of replicate that effort. Even though it might be a little bit of a slower start to the day, I definitely see them taking it all the way through to the end. So I'm curious to see whether or not the teams are going to be doing that. And who I'm referring to in that, of course, is a team like, I have the name just here, Myanmar? Yes.
Yep.
So Myanmar, going to be looking for them. And then
They do love their early fights, I do have to say. They do
And
love
then
their early
Egypt.
fights.
Yeah, where's Egypt been?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
They haven't been having the best start to the games today. I want to say like they're on the struggle bus right now, but
How many
I
points do
think
they have?
not many. I think they're in second page, maybe from 14th to 16th. They didn't have that many limbs. They didn't have that many placement points, but now they have a chance to kind of take a moment because we have a little break lined up for them. Get them some dinner, make sure they're nice and refueled and ready to go, and then we're going to be jumping into the action with the next couple of games. Only 2 games remain for day 1, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go for a short break. Make sure you get yourself a cup of tea, make some coffee. I don't know, whatever you guys prefer to drink. But again, reminder: do not listen to us when we're talking about making food. We talk about games. We are not good in the kitchen. I sincerely doubt that. But go for a break. I'll see you in a bit.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're landing in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, for the World Esports Championship.
In a world where victories can be measured in gold and silver, some things are priceless.
Surely expected, and it's Baron will find him. Can shine for one with a quick trade from Impulse.
Some things are not.